Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're jumping into one of the most popular programming languages on the planet, Python. So if you've ever thought about coding but didn't know where to even start, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to cover the absolute fundamentals that'll take you from zero to writing your very first program in just the next few minutes.
You know, this one idea, it's really the soul of Python. It comes from a set of guiding principles called the Zen of Python, and it's the main reason it's so perfect for beginners. The whole point isn't to be complicated, it's to be clear, easy to read, and because of that, incredibly powerful.
All right, let's just dive right in. The best way to learn this stuff is by actually doing it. So we are going to write our very first program. It's kind of like a rite of passage for programmers everywhere, making the computer say hello to the world.
Just look at that. How simple is that? We're using a built-in Python command called a function. You can just think of a function as a shortcut for a specific action. The print function's whole job is to display text. All we have to do is tell it what to display by putting it inside these parentheses and quotes.
And just like that, the computer does what we asked. With that one single line, you've written a complete working Python program. You gave the computer an instruction and it followed it. And that right there is the essence of programming.
Okay, so making the computer talk is a pretty cool first step, right? But what if we wanted to actually remember something? To do that, we need to learn how to store information so our program can grab it and use it later on. We're basically giving our program a memory.
And to store that information, we use something called a variable. The idea is actually super simple. Just picture a box with a label on it. You give the box a name, and then you can put whatever you want inside. This is exactly how a game remembers your high score, or how a website knows your username.
So look at this line. We've created a variable, our labeled box, and we've named it message. Then, with that single equal sign, we're assigning it a value. We're putting the sentence, "This is stored information," right inside that box.
And now, here's where the magic happens. When we tell Python to print message, notice it doesn't just print the word message. No, it's smarter than that. It looks for the box with that label, opens it up, and shows us what's inside. We've officially given our program a way to remember things. Storing one thing at a time is useful, for sure. But, life is usually more complicated than that. What happens when you've got a whole collection of related items, like all the songs in a playlist, or, say, a to-do list?
Well, for that, Python gives us lists. And honestly, they're pretty much exactly what they sound like. A container that can hold a whole bunch of items, all kept neatly in order.
For instance, check out this list we've called bicycles. Inside those square brackets, we've just got 4 different text items, or strings as they're called, and each one is a brand of bike. They're all organized together under that one single name.
Okay, so the items are in there. How do we get just one of them out? Well, we use the list's name, bicycles, followed by square brackets with a number inside. That number tells Python the item's position, which programmers call its index.
Now here's the first big gotcha in the world of programming. Most languages, and that includes Python, start counting from 0, not 1. So when we ask for index 0, we're actually asking for the very first item in the list, which in this case is Trek.
All right, let's take a step back. We can show stuff on the screen, we can store data in variables, and we can organize that data into lists. But where the real power kicks in is when our programs can start to think a little for themselves, to make decisions based on the information they have.
We do this with what's called a conditional test. It's basically just a question the computer can answer with either true or false. Now remember how a single equal sign is for storing a value, while a double equal sign is for checking if 2 values are the same. So here we're asking, is the value inside the car variable equal to BMW? And yep, the answer is true. And once we have that test, we can use it in an if statement. This is just pure logic, right? We're telling the program, if that condition you just checked turns out to be true, then go ahead and do this action. In our case, print out a specific message.
And because our condition was true, the program went ahead and executed our print command. This simple if-then structure, this is the absolute foundation of logic in programming. You can build some incredibly complex stuff from this one simple idea.
And believe it or not, what we've just covered, that's pretty much it. These few concepts, printing things out, storing data in variables, organizing it in lists, and using if statements for logic,
They are the fundamental building blocks for almost any program you can possibly dream up.
So the big takeaway here is that once you get a handle on these simple pieces, you unlock the ability to create some really cool projects. You can use variables to keep track of a score in a video game, you can use lists to hold all the data you need for a cool visualization, and you can use if statements to control how a web app behaves. These aren't just little exercises, they're the direct path to building real things.
And that's our quick explainer on the absolute basics of Python. We've seen how its whole philosophy of keeping things simple makes it both powerful and really easy to get started with. You've officially got the foundational tools. So, the only question left is, what are you going to build with them?